Kyra always plans her life, ever since her father left her and her mother at 16 years old. She has taken up the habit of controlling everything in net life. She comes up with a to-do list for everything, and also has the perfect map plan to meet the right person. This plan eventually leads her to get a dog, Sam, which eventually leads her to her one true love, Calvin, who owns an animal shelter. But getting with Calvin was not the original plan. She wanted to get her boss instead. In her first plan, Kyra gets a job in Merrill's supermarket store. She meets her best friend, Mark, who is also a worker at the store. Mark warns her that she has something stuck in her teeth. She thanks him, because not many people would do that. He wishes her good luck, and she scores herself a new job in the store, telling the manager that she is very detailed and organized. She gets home to her to-do list, and ticks off, get a job at Organic Grocers. Her next plan is to be the employee of the month, which eventually happens due to her flawless work ethic. Following the list, her next plan is to get a new product. That happens when Mark consults her for a new product, and she comes up with a lemon curd. She shows the customers the new creation and gives them free samples. Kyra eventually gets promoted to the buyer. Mark sees her list and complains that all he has are household-related things to do. She believes that if one takes control of their life, it will work out. He asks her about her other plan, which is to start selling things in the market. Kyra is still looking for the right strategy to do so. Kyra also has the dream to find the ideal partner, but she is not sure about how to go about it. She has criteria for the person who meets a partner: role, loyal, dependable, faithful, and must be gluten-free. He teases her that she is looking for a dog rather than a man. He scribbles on the paper his list for her fun and love. He thinks that she is focused on another thing. She doesn't want to end up like her mother, whom her father left. She pushed her mom to start traveling the world when things got too hard to deal with. She is only trying to minimize the disappointment. Mark believes she cannot control everything in her life, including love, because it comes naturally. She meets the new manager of the store, Trevor, who could be her ideal partner. Mark tells his backstory of him being a buyer, and he fits into all her criteria, not to mention that he is not married. Mark notices their co-worker, Lara, getting flirtatious with Trevor, and pushes Kyra to do something. She approaches him and starts a conversation. Trevor is impressed by her work, complimenting her display of the goods. She is proud of it, and asks him if he would want to try it. He declines because he is gluten-free. He begins to talk about dog food, and Laura chips in and talks about her dog, Queen Antoinette. Trevor talks about his own dog, whom he calls King. Laura continues to talk about her dog to Trevor, and they begin to bond. Kyra feels out of place because she doesn't have a dog. Mark jumps in to say that she has a dog named Sparky. Laura asks for a picture. Kyra mentions that her dog is camera shy. Mark also lies that her dog has been in multiple commercials, even though he is camera shy. To impress Trevor, Laura says that her dog is survival trained. Mark tells them that Sparky is agility trained. It gives Trevor the idea to include Kyra and her dog in the Super Pup show for the store. Kyra tries to step out of it quickly, but Trevor begins to make plans by calling the head office. Kyra wonders where she can get a dog. She begins to make calls to buyers, but they can't give her an agility-trained dog. Mark feels bad, but is convinced that Trevor is the best person for her. She agrees with him and is inspired to find a dog to bond with Trevor. She turns to the animal shelter to her a dog, where she meets Kelvin. Kelvin loves dogs, and always wants to find a good home for them. He is particular about the dog's safety, and always wants people to commit to the dogs. Kyra tells him that she wants a dog, and he asks her for the reason. In response, she begins to babble that she likes dogs. He reminds her that it would be a lot of work to take care of a dog, and tells her about how people come in to look for dogs, and then later leave because they cannot stand the work. She promises that she is not one of those people. He would love to trust her, but he has heard those words before. She needs to be very convincing. He takes her to the office, where they begin a short test. Kelvin asks the questions. He asks if anyone in the home or building has a problem with dogs. She answers that it is only her living in her home. He wants to know how many hours the dog will be left alone. She has an 8-hour shift, but will be home for lunch. She convinces herself that she will be home every day to feed him. He wonders if she has ever owned a dog before. She tells him that she has a plan to take care of the dog. He knows that the best plans won't work out, and she may not be the best candidate. Kelvin suggests that a cat would be best for her. She stops him to promise that she would not abandon the dog. She knows what it is like to be abandoned, and wouldn't wish that on anyone. Not fully convinced, Kelvin eventually decides that he will give her a dog. He asks for the breed, and she says she would love an athletic dog. He teases that she would love a challenge. He gives her a dog, Sam, who is 5 years old, and is a Border Collie Australian Shepherd mix. The owner took a job overseas and abandoned him. She decides to take Sam to her home, and buys him a comfy little dog bed. She mentions that she wants to do homework. She begins to research dog agility. The real work starts as Sam starts to bark in the middle of the night. She falls asleep on the couch, and he wakes her up by licking her face. She takes Sam for a walk, which is hard because all he wants to do is run. She gets ready for work and promises that she will be home in time for lunch. She steps out and realizes that she forgot her phone. She gets into the house and sees everything turned upside down. Kyra calls Mark to ask him to cover for her, because she needs to take care of the dog. She will do her meeting with Trevor over a video call. Kelvin visits her unexpectedly because, in the adoption agreement, she agreed to occasional visits from the adoption home to see how the dog is coping. He was in the neighborhood to check on another dog. She wants to lure him out because she doesn't want him to see the mess that Sam has created. Kelvin comes in either way, and she is embarrassed about her place being a mess. She tries to explain about a fly that was around, but he knows that Sam did it. He asks about the dog crate, but she didn't know that she would need one. He notices that she works for Meryl's store, from her name tag, and says he won't disturb her. She tells him that she will be working from home to spend more time with Sam, but complains to him that the dog doesn't do what she wants. Kelvin commands the dog, and she notices that he is a trainer. Kyra comes up with the idea of him training the dog, but he declines, stating that the owner should be the one to train him. He says that everything is in order. To convince him, Kyra tells him that he can always come over, and he says that he should stay away. He wishes her good luck and leaves. Kyra gets the crate for Sam, but he refuses to go inside. She begins her video meeting with Trevor. Trevor asks if everything is okay, because she didn't come to work, and she talks about how she has things to do. They begin to talk about dogs not being allowed into the store, and that there is not much dog food in the market. She suggests that they can bring the dog treats out, and they could give away treat samples for dog owners to try at home. He commends her that she knows how to check all the boxes, and she mentions that he does too, hinting at her ideal partner list. She ends the meeting when Sam begins to bark loudly. Kyra decides to meet dog trainers but is unsuccessful in her search. One of them is too strict, and one of them says that you have to bark to connect with the dog. The other decides to use aura and burn sage. Mark visits her and she mentions she only wants to do what is best for Sam, and she also wants Trevor. She goes back to visit Kelvin. He is shocked to see her and wonders if she is here to bring back Sam. Kyra needs his help with Sam. She bought a crate, but he won't go into the wire one, so she got a soft padded one, but he won't stop barking. Then she got a little house where she drew pictures for him, but he won't still come in. Kelvin realizes that Sam is dealing with separation anxiety, and the crates remind him that she is leaving. She begs that he help her as a trainer. He believes he doesn't have the time. She complains that she knows basic training and needs a little bit of help to get used to Sam. He agrees to run her through some things. He tells her to sit while he grabs his keys and jokes that she did it just like a dog. She is thrilled that he agrees to help her. They go to the park. He says that the training is best if they use treats. Sam is food motivated. He commands Sam to sit, lie down, and give him the pawn. Sam is very trained, but is acting out because of emotions. Kelvin tells Kyra that she will have to gain his trust. He tells her to hold his leash, and she thinks it's a bad idea, but does so. Sam runs across the field, with her running behind. Kelvin manages to stop them. When she commands Sam to walk, he listens. Thrilled, she asks Kelvin if he could be agility trained. He tells her that a dog needs to be motivated to get to that point. She confesses to him that she may have exaggerated to the store managers about how trained Sam is, and that the store is sponsoring some dogs. She doesn't tell him more than that, to protect her plan. He quickly realizes that it's the Super Pups show. She hopes that Kelvin can help her to train Sam. He tells her that he can't, because he has a lot of work. She tries to convince him that the show is in a couple of weeks, but he leaves, stating that he will be in touch. Kelvin returns home, where his older sister Heather is helping him out to put things in his fridge. She complains that he doesn't always have food in his fridge. He says that it is empty, only because he is busy with work and other things. He mentions that he is training a dog for someone. He talks about Kyra, that he gave her the dog, and it seems that she can handle it. She realizes that he never lets emotions get in the way of adoptions, and hints that there might be something special about Kyra. She celebrates that it is time that he gets some human interaction. He says that he will get someone else to train Sam. She advises him to do more, and then to try hard to surround himself with good people. Kyra talks to her mother via video call about her European tour, and also tells her that she got a dog. Her mother is surprised that it isn't in her plans, but Kyra talks about Trevor and how it is a plan to get with him. She knows that he is perfect enough for her to get a dog. She also mentions that Trevor is not like her father. Her mother reminds her that no one is perfect, but Kyra is convinced that Trevor may be. She learns that she has a river cruise with Valentine, and she may have someone else. The next day at work, Mark tells her that he is doing the announcement for the Super Pup show, and she is happy for him. She mentions that she just has to get a hang of the agility training. Mark advises her that they can come clean to Trevor, and that they may have lied. She realizes that it is too late, because there are advertisements for the dog show with the cardboard cut out of her and the dog. Trevor arrives and talks about the dog. Kyra offers him a gluten-free snack, and he mentions that he is only gluten-free on Tuesday and vegetarian on Thursday. She worries that he may not have the gluten-free needed for her list. Mark reminds her that he has other things ticked on the list, like being loyal and dependable. Kelvin shows up at Kyra's workplace to tell her that he wants to help Sam be trained. He sees the cardboard cutout. She is happy and says that she and Sam are the luckiest duo. Laura overhears the dog's name and is confused. Kyra tells her that Sam's nickname is Sparky because he is good. Laura continues to talk about the show, and Mark distracts her so as to not blow Kyra's cover in front of Kelvin. Mark talks about the picture Laura posted of Queen Antoinette, which gets her excited. Kyra takes the dog treat and asks them if they can start work. Kelvin agrees that they can start training. Mark promises to cover for her. At the park, Kyra gives Sam treats, but he doesn't want them. She tries to give him her gluten-free snacks, which he loves. They use it as a strategy to get him to go around the cones. Kelvin is shocked that she made the gluten-free bars and wants the recipe because he is also gluten-free. He always got rashes whenever he ate wheat. He talks about stuttering when he was a young person. She is pleased that he is gluten-free and they have so much in common. She suggests that if he has the time, they can make some more. He quickly agrees because his assistant is at the shelter and will take care of things while he is not there. He warns Kyra that he is not the best in the kitchen. She is thrilled that she can teach him something. He notices that the house is clean and jokes about the lack of flies. She laughs and tells him that was just a joke. He tells her that she doesn't strike him as lazy or messy. He looks at her plan and she covers the list and calls it silly. He is amused by her organized skills. He teases her about whether she has a to-do list for Sam, as she has for herself. They start to make gluten-free bars and joke with each other. She tries to let him taste it and gives it to Sam instead. He tricks her and takes out the snacks. Sam takes her car keys again, and Kelvin tells her that Sam may want a car ride. Sam is thrilled to play in the dog park along with other dogs. Kelvin talks about how much he loves dogs, and he feels that dogs could teach humans a thing or two. He believes in just living in the moment. On the contrary, she believes that they will never be in the moment like dogs. She believes that if life has a plan, it's much better. He commends her on living according to her plan, except that she got Sam, and it wasn't in her life plan. He talks about her list. She lets him know that getting Sam was not always on the plan, but it is part of a bigger plan. They return home, and he promises that they will do more during the weekend, since they all played today. She hopes that she will meet his dog, but he says he doesn't have one. He had one at home when he was younger, named Buddy, but presently has too much to do around the shelter. She commends him for being incredible at the shelter. She loves what he is doing. He leaves and says that they have serious work during the weekend. He sets up a course for Sam to do. She believes that the space is good for dogs, and he should consider it as a side business. He mentions that the course involves the difficulty Sam will face during the game. They begin to do the course, and Sam is very good with it. They celebrate his success together. Heather shows up and is thrilled that he is spending more time with Kyra. She invites her for dinner. During dinner, Heather talks more about how Kelvin brought home every living creature: cats, toads, and dogs. They talk about Buddy and how he was his best friend. Kelvin leaves to bring the family album, which allows Heather to talk to Kyra about him. Heather thinks he is great for training the dog. She lets Kyra know that he doesn't have a lot of friends, and he doesn't let a lot of people into his life. Kyra believes that she is lucky that he has her time. Heather convinces her that if he ever lets her into his life, she should know that he is the most loyal friend. Kelvin comes with an album, and Heather tells them that they can look at it over the porch while she makes coffee for them. On the porch, she and Kelvin smile as they look at family pictures. She talks about her to-do list and about gluten-free bars. He suggests that she could turn it into a business. He advises that she should sell them as treats for dogs and could try out the bars on the dogs at the shelter. He offers to help her out. She would love to donate the sales to the shelter. She doesn't have to, but wants to. Kyra and Sam plan to go home. She begins to worry about the agility plan. He says that they will keep on training, and everything will be okay. She stops him from leaving by thanking him for the training, and also letting her adopt the animal. He is glad that things are now working out. The next morning, Kyra notices that Sam is sick, and calls Kelvin that Sam is not moving. She takes him to the shelter for the vet to check him out. They run an ultrasound on him. She begins to worry that something may be wrong with Sam. She can't imagine her life without him, because he is like family now. He asks her how old she was when her father left, and she believes that it still hurt, even though she was 16. The worst part was that there was nothing she could do to stop it. That's why she has a list to help her to control things. He holds her hand to comfort her, and promises her that he will be okay, no matter what. Dr. Cormier relieves her of all worry as she tells them that Sam had something stuck in his throat, and they have removed it, so he is okay. In celebration, Kyra hugs Kelvin and thanks him for being there. They resume playing and practicing for the course. Sam won't go into the tunnel, and Kelvin gets in to show him. Mark shows up and wants to talk about the plan, but Kyra stops him just in time as Kelvin comes out of the tunnel. Kyra introduces them. Kelvin doesn't give himself enough credit. Mark sees their spark and asks if they can go out together, offering to babysit Sam. Kyra believes that Kelvin has worked, but he mentions that he doesn't have anything, and agrees to go out with her. They go out for ice cream, and she talks about how her mom would get ice cream before the movies. Her father couldn't show up because of work. He says that his parents are retired and live with 3 dogs from the shelter. She wonders what she would be like as a mother. She thinks that they would be wild. He mentions that it would be a lot of work. She sees the swing, and they go out to play. Kelvin is having so much fun with her, and she asks him if he might want to go to a movie. He offers that they could watch it at his place. She calls Mark to find out if he could look after Sam a little longer. He asks if it is a date, and although she says it is not, Mark sees that they belong together. They go to Kelvin's house and try to watch a movie. At the end of the movie, he asks her what she thinks. Tearfully, she answers that it was the best movie that she has ever watched. She asks about how the dogs in the shelter get over being abandoned. He answers that it is the love of the owner that helps them out. Kyra is about to go home and tells him that she has a lot of treats to bake tomorrow. He offers to help her out because he loves spending time with her. She goes home to see Mark and Sam. Kyra didn't know how much she would love Sam. Mark believes that without the list, it wouldn't have prompted her to get Sam, which led her to Kelvin. She doesn't believe it, still thinking of Trevor, but he tells her not to ignore her feelings for him. He wants her to take a chance. Kelvin shows up to help her out with the groceries. She shows him cookie cutters for the baked treats. They finish baking and he asks about packaging, and she decides to do eco-friendly packaging bags. She thinks about the name and comes up with KK9. He agrees to be her partner. Kyra assures him that he is good with people, and he can do more if he wants to turn the training gig into a normal thing. Any dog owner would be lucky to have him. She takes selling of her product and find a good partner off the list. Heather visits the shelter to give Kelvin the blankets for the daycare. She begins to talk about Kyra. He has caught feelings for her, but doesn't know if she feels the same way. She tells him to take a chance, since that's all he does at the shelter. He needs to take a chance with love. She hugs him and assures him that she is always there for him. At the store, Kyra thanks Mark for letting her know about the plan. She will invite Kelvin out for a celebration afterward. Laura overhears the old plan and spitefully talks loudly about it so that Kelvin can hear. Kyra tries to explain, but she can't. Kelvin decides to leave, feeling hurt and betrayed. She rushes after him and he confronts her about everything. She tries to explain, but just then Trevor comes up. She tries to tell him that she is busy. Kelvin claims that he is done and wishes her all the best of luck in the show. Trevor begins to talk about asking a work colleague out, and she thinks that it might be her, but he dashes her hopes, confiding that it is Laura he is interested in. Kyra is surprised, but tells him that Laura would agree to go out with him. She asks him for the day off and he agrees. Upset, Kyra calls her mom, who can sense that things are not okay. Her mother tells her that things must happen, no matter how much she plans for a smooth life. She pushes her to fight, just like she did with her father. Heartbroken, Kelvin takes the course off his field of the house. It's competition day. Kyra sees Kelvin and tries to talk to him. It is awkward between them. She gives him the cookies, and he wishes her good luck. She hopes that he can find a lot of adoptions today. She apologizes for all that she did. She says she was focused on finding something faithful to her list. She now knows that finding someone like her best friend is all that matters. She reveals that she has feelings for him. The announcer starts the show, and then she leaves without him saying a word. Mark starts to announce the players. Sam and Kyra start the show, and Sam rushes off midway to meet Kelvin and wants him to join in the course. They agree to do it together. Sam refuses to jump, and the audience chants before he continues. He doesn't go into the tunnel, so Kyra goes in to try to help him. Sam rushes to the other side and leaves her stuck. Kelvin helps her out of the tunnel. She tries to explain, but he kisses her and tells her that he loves her too. Sam completes the show, and they celebrate together.